If you've been around this channel long enough, then you know I mainly cover manga, but before I got into the wonderful world of manga, I grew up on its more colourful Western counterpart, comic books. Now, naturally, as you can imagine, growing up reading comic books and then growing up through the golden age of the Marvel Cinematic Universe certainly helped bolster that love that I had to read comics. And for a while, the MCU sort of replaced that itch to experience comic books and superheroes and supervillains and their stories and watch them just simply beat the fuck out of each other. So eventually, I kind of moved away from comics and more into manga, and this trend continued for a long time until eventually this man showed up and dropped Absolute Batman. Now, if you are familiar with Batman in any way, shape, or form, then you know the Caped Crusader has a few staples within his story, within his mythos, within his lore. Both parents are dead, he's a billionaire, and he doesn't kill. But Absolute Batman is different. The premise for the story starts in the Absolute Power storyline, so to explain Absolute Batman, I sort of need to give you a history lesson on Absolute Power first. Absolute Power was a series that ran for about 4 issues in 2024 and was created by Mark Waid and Dan Mora and many more talented individuals to create this absolute wonderful series. And it detailed the scenario that saw Amanda Waller being able to steal metahuman abilities, and this series wastes no time in letting you know just how much it's not fucking around, because, I mean, the first page is literally Superman getting shot. Superman getting shot. I feel like those words just shouldn't even be in the same sentence, but they are. And more than this, it covers a topic that I found quite fascinating: misinformation. The series covers the events of Amanda Waller using fake footage to inspire terror and fear into the lives of civilians, and then cause them to turn on the very heroes that are fighting to keep their lives safe. Anyways, long story short, Nightwing to the rescue storyline wraps up, and it leads to the Justice League, in which Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman are now all set to create the all-new Justice League. Only for Darkseid to pull up with the power of the fucking Spectre, the Spectre by the way, and then he ends up creating the Absolute Worlds. So far we have Absolute Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Martian Manhunter, and the Green Lantern. But Absolute Batman is what I want to focus on in today's video, if you couldn't already tell, because it might just be one of the best, if not the best, Batman comic that I've read in a very long time, while also simultaneously changing every single thing that you and I both know about Batman at its core. Anyways, let's talk about the character. I think one of the things that I absolutely love about Absolute Batman is that he doesn't feel like a superhuman. He feels like a regular guy who's just really determined and also freakishly jacked. He feels more like a Punisher in a Batman skin than he does a Batman in a Batman skin. For comparison, there are comics out there where Batman has fell from orbit and landed handily on the floor because, you know, he's Batman. But Absolute Batman feels like that just could simply never happen. But more so than that, the series goes out of its way to show us Bruce's childhood trauma throughout the series. Batman's trauma is a thing that makes his character, it makes him. So the death of his parents, the death of Robin, there are many trials and tribulations that he's gone through the many years. But I feel like in a lot of his stories with Batman, we never get to see the results of that trauma coming out. But Absolute Batman goes out of its way to let you know Batman is in fact still human. For example, issue 1 shows us Bruce hitting the heavy bags. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this world's Batman is different. Only one parent has died, his father. And we get to see the way these memories and trauma haunts Bruce, the way it bubbles up, how it forms in this rage and anger. It's something different from the Batman that we are used to, who's typically pretty cool, calm, and collected, but not this version. It's like he's fueled on rage. We get to see how Bruce agonizes over these memories of his dad being shot, with hits getting heavier and heavier until eventually he arrives at his father's demise, leading him to completely obliterate the heavy bag that stands in front of him. Now, I did mention earlier how Batman feels human, so completely destroying this punch bag isn't very human-like, but we'll just move past that for a second. But what comes next is very human. He has friends. Now, I'm not saying Batman doesn't have friends, because obviously he does. In fact, Batman and Superman is probably one of the greatest bromances ever put to fiction, in my opinion. I love any time that these two get to interact. I love their whole dynamic. It's just a fun thing for me to experience. But I think it's rare for us to experience Bruce having friendships, and more importantly, friendships that are shown to have stemmed from his childhood. Yeah, it's a very it's a whole thing, which goes back to my original point. This version of Batman is startlingly human, ground, emotional, and that's something that I've genuinely enjoyed while reading through this story. It's almost refreshing to see. Not only are these friends that Bruce has here from his childhood, they're all villains that we're familiar with. Killer Croc, Riddler, Harvey Dent, the Penguin, and even Catwoman. They're all there. These are all little pieces of information that just get scattered throughout the series, and we get to see them all arm in arm. We all get to see them growing up, essentially, until eventually they reach adulthood, where we see them interacting casually. And eventually we get to the point on how Bruce managed to become Batman. How is it that he has this whole operation running? How he built everything? Because obviously he's no longer a billionaire, but it turns out this man is he's just a regular Joe. He's just like me and you. I mean, you've never seen me and Batman in the same room, so I could be Batman. He's a blue-collar worker, working in construction, 24 years of age. He grew up in Crime Alley, which is obviously a far cry different from anything else that we know. He didn't grow up in this lavish mansion here. He grew up in Crime Alley, the very place where his parents are murdered in normal canon events. He's an extremely smart kid who excelled at school. He's almost a genius, winning an engineering competition, creating a mobile, collapsible bridge that can be used in any and all situations, and its design is based on a Batwing. Convenience. But all of this backstory being fleshed out all serves the purpose to show us just how much Bruce has hid in an attempt to try and fill this void left by his dad's untimely death, and until eventually all of these skills learned lead him into the path of Batman. Applied mechanics, chemistry, criminal psychology, military theory, socio-cultural history, all of this all just leads to him becoming Batman. And I think it's in these details here that help me connect with Batman just that little bit more than regular Batman stories, because for a lot of these Batman stories, he is just Batman. You don't often get to see the progression from him going from regular guy to the Caped Crusader, but Absolute Batman shows you that. Even if it is only in brief flashbacks told to you from the perspective of Alfred, you still get to see that, and it shows you the journey, the route that he's taken, the meticulous planning, the years of planning for this, for his first appearance, all to become a symbol. And all while this character stuff is really cool, what you really want to see is the fight. You see, the fights in Absolute Batman are absolutely fucking killer. Batman, in almost every sense of the word, is a cool, controlled, efficient, and brutal fighter. Everything about him just screams cold motherfucker. But Absolute Batman, it feels like we're watching all of that kind of go out of the window. It's like if we gave Brock Lesnar a prime batsuit and he just proceeded to go out into the night and just piss on every goon that he could find. That's kind of what this is like. I mean, this man uses his cape as a hook to yoink motherfuckers around and throw them like rag dolls. I get this dude, this guy got launched 2 floors up from the floor. There's a little bit more to it than that, but as I mentioned earlier, this Batman feels less like a Batman and more like a Punisher in a batsuit. And I say that because of the levels of brutality. It's something that we don't often see in a Batman story, and that's why it reminds me of a Punisher. You need some examples of brutality. How about Batman using the bat ears as knives to stab his opponents? Knife work so clean, it's almost like he's enjoying it. Brutal, yet precise. Him using the bat symbol as a literal axe to cut a man's fucking hand off. And this part I especially love because Batman at his core is a symbol that strikes fear into the hearts and minds of criminals and ne'er-do-wells looking to near-do well. So Scott Synder making the decision to make this bat symbol not only a metaphorical symbol of fear, but also a literal tool of fear, it's different. It's fucking genius, if I'm honest with you. The examples of Batman's brutality in the series don't even stop here. His shoulders are filled with spikes meant to make this dude look like a mutant monster. These spikes get used a little bit later down the line to not only help Batman escape a situation that he's stuck in, but also to help get someone stuck to him. Literally, it also just happens to be the same guy whose hand he cut off, because fuck this guy, I guess. But Batman literally also kicks this kid off a boat before moving on to impale a black mask into the eyeballs. I mean, just look at this smile. This is the smile that he gave a woman right after kicking a kid off the boat. I mean, even Alfred is completely different within this world. Alfred is a man who watches Batman from afar and acts almost like our guide and exposition tour for his actions. And what starts out as a hunt for Alfred, as a task, as a job, eventually leads into intrigue, and then eventually into friendship, into camaraderie. And you slowly get to see these two starting to fall back into their old routines of the classic Bruce and Alfred that we are all aware of. But it's a little bit different, but it's still there. Oh, and then there's the Batmobile. Or in this case, Batmobile truck. The Batman dump truck, and I'm not talking about his ass here, I'm talking about a literal fucking monster truck that mutates into a normal Batmobile. This dude uses that as his getaway car Everything about Absolute Batman is just new and fresh and exciting, down to the storyline, the execution of its characters, the way Batman is portrayed. If you've been a fan of Batman for a long time, I promise you don't even want to skip this read, because it is genuinely a really good story. It's a series that I've been keeping up with now since launch, and one that I've been meaning to talk about for a hot minute now. And as it stands, Absolute Batman has 7 chapters, and it has covered the first arc to completely showcasing Batman fighting against the Black Mask and the party animals, and is now moving into its next arc of showing Absolute Batman's fight against Mr. Freeze, Batman's first superpowered villain within this series. And alongside these 2 arcs, Snyder is slowly building up several plot lines in the background. Throughout each chapter, we see more and more of Bruce's childhood, his relationship with his father, his relationship with his mother, pre and post his father's death, the budding relationship between himself and Black Cat and his friends, how him and his friend group came together, and now how they might eventually slowly fall apart, and his friends in this weird friends to enemy storyline that is being set up. All the while this is happening in the background, Snyder is slowly but surely making you aware that the Joker does exist in this world, and it's the most mysterious character that we've seen within the series so far. I mean, just look at this dude. He apparently doesn't smile, but then we do see him smiling, and he looks almost grimaced, and he has baby faces on his arm, as you see, he's literally, I don't even know how to describe this dude. This dude is literally a skeleton, and then he's like sucking that. I don't even want to finish that sentence, to be honest with you. I don't even want to finish that sentence. But there is a lot going on within the series, and I cannot recommend the series enough. So if you have the time, invest it into Absolute Batman. It's 7 chapters, and also, by the way, read Absolute Superman and Absolute Wonder Woman. Read them all. They're all really good. Anyways, that's it from me. If you haven't already, please be sure to like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments below if you want to see more comic book videos, because this is nice to do. This is a breath of fresh air to put together. I know obviously it's normally manga on the channel, but I would like to move into more written mediums. It's quite fun. As always, massive shout out to the channel members here, and as always, I will catch you guys all in the next one. Much fucking love. Big fucking kisses. Peace.